Welcome to the Spark by Hollywood podcast. I am your host, Devora Goldberg. In this podcast, I guide my listeners through a deeper look into the parallel paradigm of Hollywood versus Jewish ideas, love, relationships, and empowerment, and uncover which one is truly attainable and sustainable for us as Jews to achieve. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining today's episode. In today's episode, we're spotlighting celebrities and their romantic vacations. It's something we see all the time in headlines, and the paparazzi cameras aren't shy about the lavish pictures, all the smiles, and these celebrities looking, and they probably are, in love. It's a popular headline, once that we've seen over and over again. Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle, union on the Amalfi Coast. The former NBA star and his actress wife floated on the world's largest pink flamingo sea toy while sipping on champagne off the coast of Italy. Several days later, the couple's yacht arrived in Corsica. That's one couple. And then we have Kourtney Kardashian and Travis Barker bond on a romantic vacation in Cabo, Mexico. With travel restrictions from COVID-19 pandemic finally easing up, celebrities are getting to the jet off to their favorite summer getaway destinations once again. Okay? Again, in the headlines for everyone to see, we see what they're doing, what excitement they're sparking within their relationship to make things exciting, to make things different, to spark that love between each other. Then we have Katie and Orlando Bloom on the paparazzi lens on a family trip to Venice, Italy. The American Idol judge wore an adorable yellow floral print mini dress while posing in front of one of the city's canals. Later, she was seen aboard a wooden water taxi, relaxing with her legs kicked up on a railing. We can just imagine. Close your eyes and see it in your mind's eye. One of the best places to visit in south of France, Saint-Tropez, is, and I'm sure it sounds better when you say it with a French accent, it's known for its amazing beaches and blissful landscapes. Celebrity couples like Beyonce and Jay-Z, as well as David and Victoria Beckham, have been spotted vacationing there along all these famous beaches. There's a private island as well, just west of Barbados, which is known as Mystique, and its remote beaches and luxury villas make it a haven for royalty couples, such as Prince William and Kate Middleton. And these couples are not the only ones. Many people go on vacation. Celebrities and common folk alike. People go on cruises. People go to destinations which are fun and different and exciting. Something that changes the regular daily schedule. Families go on vacations, friends go on vacations. It's not something out of the norm. So what are the benefits of couples going on vacations and getting some time alone, getting away? So I did some research and I came up with 5 benefits that actually help the couple in their relationship. For one, it's an opportunity for new experiences. Because when we're so busy in the mundane routines of our lives, it gives us some freshness in our relationship. Secondly, it gives the couple quality time together that they may not already have. It also allows the couple to learn better relationship skills, right? They're spending time together one-on-one for a certain amount of time. They can actually work things out and try to become closer in terms of relationship skills and how they're communicating with one another. Sometimes, if they're indulging in a wellness environment, that has its benefits as well. And of course, finally, we go on vacation in order to rekindle the romance. Go to a place which has bountiful nature, just has beautiful landscapes, something to appreciate, something to get excited about, something that's different from where you live. And feel that reconnection with one another, that romance that may have been dwindling can now be rekindled. So where do we find the Jewish spice in all this? Judaism says, as beautiful and wonderful as vacations are, you are going to incorporate this vacation mentality into your marriage every single month. Judaism and Hollywood agree. They agree that getting away and having that time, that space, which is different than your mundane daily activities, that's important. And that's special. And Judaism says it's not only special, but it's necessary. And we'll take it one step further. This is sacred. And how can we create a sacred vacation, so to speak? What part of it becomes sacred? Judaism says that when we incorporate the time of month that the woman menstruates, and we make sure that at that time she's not being physically connected to her husband, she's not being sexually active, she pulls away, she creates that space. That itself is different than what was happening the previous week, the previous 2 weeks when they were sexually active. Now, her and her husband are practicing pulling away from each other, practicing that restraint from one another, and waiting for that moment where the culmination of that time, that space, that minimal 12 days where she can immerse in the mikvah. When she immerses in the mikvah, what she does is change her spiritual status and allow her to be sexually, physically connected with her husband once again. We actually find in Judaism that the mikvah is such an integral part of Jewish continuity that archaeologists have found mikvahs in the bottom of homes that they have dug up in Israel. They've also found it at various archaeologist diggings and findings around Israel, especially specific sites where Jews used to live. They may not live there now, but we can glean that from that time period in history, there were Jews living there, and there were Jews who were committed to using this mikvah and immersing themselves. The women were immersing themselves on a monthly basis and renewing this love for each other every single month. So it's not something new. It's not a new concept. It's not a new phenomenon. This is something which we carry in our lineage, we carry in our history from pretty much the beginning of time. In fact, there's a historical site in Israel called Masada. And we know from history that the Jews who lived in Masada were fighting for their lives. They were starving on a daily basis and living in fear of their enemies. But when we tour that space, many, many years later, what do we see there? We can actually see two mikvahs that are still remained intact. And we see from this that the mikvah is integral to the Jewish continuity, to the Jewish tradition, to the Jewish way of life. We're told that if there's a Jewish community in any part of the world, one of the first things you have to do is make sure that there is a mikvah in that space, because it's such an integral part of Jewish life, Jewish married life. Make sure that there is a mikvah there. Now, let's say that community has a synagogue, has a shul. Let's say that community has a Torah that they read from. We're told that you sell the Torah. The shul is not as important. Start with the mikvah. the mikvah comes first because it ensures that Jewish life can and will continue there. When a woman immerses in mikvah, when man and woman are committed to what we call family purity, this monthly pulling apart, coming back together, we're taught that it brings God into their marriage, into their lives, and brings blessing amongst them. So where do we see that? In Hebrew, man is called ish, aleph, yud, shin. Woman is isha. Same root word, aleph, yud, shin, but it adds a hey. The root of both names is esh. Esh in Hebrew is fire. We know that fire and fire, the root of man and woman, when we have fire, they can consume each other. As like what happens in marriages and relationships many times. Fights can happen, discord can happen, and couples pull apart. It does happen. But how do we create an excitement in this fire? How do we create this fire of love? And that's when we introduce the yud in the name ish and the hey in the name isha. So yud and hey is actually a name of God. And if we want to bring God into the picture, if we want to bring God into the marriage and bring blessing, that's when we commit to this holy ritual, this holy tradition of the woman immersing in the mikvah every single month and committing to only being with her husband once she has immersed and has elevated her spiritual state. Now, what makes a mikvah? It's not just a regular pool. Yes, if one looks at the mikvah, it looks like a small, nice jacuzzi pool of some sort. It looks like a small mini swimming pool. But what makes it a mikvah? What makes it different than any other man-made pool? The fact that it's connected to a natural source of water, which has not been touched by human fingerprints. So this natural source of water, or rainwater, is actually gathered in a pool, which is adjacent or beneath the mikvah pool, connecting the waters through a small opening, allowing the waters, which are within the mikvah, as well as the waters in the natural source, to flow to one another and kiss and embrace and touch one another and blend with one another. And therefore, the mikvah waters have an element of a natural source. Now, natural waters are never ending. Natural waters, they don't dry up. And that's what we're tapping into when we immerse in the mikvah every single month. The unending reservoir of godly energy that we bring into our lives, that we bring into our marriage. The Hebrew word for immersion is tevilah. If we change the words around, the letters around in the word, we get the word bitul. Bitul in Hebrew means supplication. Supplication to what? What are we giving ourselves over to? We are giving ourselves over to the source of life, to God, because only God has the potential to give life. And who else did he share this gift with? With the woman. And that's why the woman is so close to God, because when she carries a baby and gives birth, she is literally partnering with its source, with God himself. So I want to take a moment and go through what makes this process so beautiful. What is beautiful about this mitzvah? On the day that a woman has to immerse in the mikvah, she doesn't just go to the mikvah and immerse. She actually goes through a preparation process where she cleanses herself from head to toe, literally goes through a spa treatment by herself to make sure that there is nothing separating her body from the mikvah waters when she is going to be immersing. And she goes through a checklist from head to toe. She makes sure that her hair is washed, makeup is removed, going down from head to toe. She makes sure that everything is washed, cleansed, and there's no separation between her body and the mikveh waters that she's going to be immersed in. And then she's ready to immerse. She lowers herself into the mikveh waters. And as she immerses in these waters, she enters a moment where the Torah tells us the gates of heaven are open to her at that moment. And what does that mean? That means she literally has a direct connection. She has a moment where she can plead, ask, pray to God for anything. And it's a moment where the gates of heaven are open to her. She can have a neighbor who's praying at home, but she's at an advantage because she's at a time and space in her month, at a place in the mikveh where she has that special direct connection with God at that moment. I was giving a speech over to a community once, and this woman came up to me afterwards, and she told me, she said, do you know that when a woman emerges from the mikveh, that there are heavenly angels that, so to speak, accompany her out of the mikveh, back home, and accompany her for a full 24 hours after her immersion. Understanding what power we have, what spirituality we can connect to and tap into as women. Number one, it brings an added element, a special element, a unique element to our marriage, this honeymoon element of renewal, of excitement, and it also adds to her connection to God himself that no one else, again, can tap into at her moment when she is immersing in the mikveh. One more point about mikveh itself is that years ago, again, this is a tradition that we carry with us from the beginning of times. Our foremothers, they all, from years and generations back, they kept this mitzvah as well. But it wasn't as easy as we have it these days. And what do I mean by easy? You know, people can say, you know, it's inconvenient. I got a wedding to go to on Tuesday night, and my mikveh night fell on Tuesday night as well, or I'm working late, and it's just not going to work out with my schedule. But just to give some perspective, I was talking with Rebbetzin Goldie Plotkin from Chabad of Markham. She's there. They are the shluchim there, Chabad of Markham. She explains that her grandmother, when she was engaged, her grandmother was living in Russia, and her fiance was persecuted. He was sent to Siberia. He was imprisoned in Siberia. And what does a bride do who's in love? She doesn't want anything to come in between her and her future husband. So what does she do? She moved to Siberia with him. She joined the prisoners in their prisoner camp. What did she do when it came to mikveh? She knew as a Jewish woman, she has to immerse on every single month. What was she going to do? Where was there a mikveh out there in Siberia? Not only that, but it was freezing there. So there wasn't a mikveh structure that she can go in, descend on the stairs, and have the warm waters wash over her. She did have natural bodies of water, though. But again, it's Siberia. It's freezing. Yet she was committed. Not only were the waters freezing, they were frozen, a layer of ice covering the top. She literally broke the ice, creating an opening for her to lower herself into. Just thinking about it. Lowering a body into freezing, frigid waters. For what? For this commitment that there's no other way to do it. I'm a Jewish woman, and I'm given over to this life, and I'm proud of it, and I will do what it takes to purify myself, whether it's comfortable for me or not. Again, these days, mikvahs are found around the world. state-of-the-art facilities, pampering the woman to the max, making her feel special in her monthly immersion, in her monthly renewal, in her monthly rekindling of love between her and her husband. Thank you for joining me for today's episode. If you are loving the Spark by Hollywood podcast, kindly leave me a 5-star review on the platform that you're listening on. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Sparked by Hollywood. That's where the conversations happen. That's where I give you extra content on all my episodes and where you can send me your feedback, your comments, and questions. And finally, in a world where we are all enamored by the spark of Hollywood and its celebrities, always remember your own spark that you carry within you that makes you the gift that the world needs to shine that much brighter. I'll catch you in the next episode.